the UNCCD is the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. So I'm the representative of more than 400 NGO in Africa. Thank you for my colleague from coming from Ghana. We have a small problem, technical problem. We have a file figure online. I mean, allow Esperance in order to have them. So this morning we want to talk with you about mangrove. What is mangrove? The main problem we have today around climate problem, you know, specifically in Africa, is how to find a solution, a local solution, in order to have more resilience, face the effect of climate change. You know, in Africa, since a COP27 in Paris, the developed country, the rich country, has 100 billion per year in order to help us in order to face climate change. But since this moment, we don't have more money. So in our mind, African, how we can do in order to have our local solution before this money coming? I don't know if the money will come in one day. This is our question. So we are talking in order according land restoration. The problem is that how we can do to capture a groundhouse gas in order to face the climate change. This is our challenge today. But in the policy of the UNCCD, the two conventions of Rio, there is the UNCCD, UNFCCC, and UNCDD. In the policy, all the policy is around how to do, or what policy we can have in order to have to capture all these greenhouse that we have all around the world. So specifically in our NGO, as we are in the group here, we are working, this is our second station around mangrove. During the United Nations Ocean Conference last June in Lisbon, we have our first station about mangrove. So what is the mangrove? What is the importance of mangrove? Mangrove are the ecosystem specified. So the scientists tell us that the mangrove have more capacity to capture the greenhouse emission. So in the policy of the UNCCD or UNFCCC, they are taking every day to develop the land restoration. But what's about the mangrove? They don't talk enough in mangrove. So we want today, around this session, to let you know that we are thinking about in West Africa coastal in order to develop this policy in order to preserve the mangrove and to restore them. We have many problems in Africa. There is a lack of information around mangrove. The local community will live around mangrove. They don't know the importance of mangrove. So when they want to cook, they are living around the mangrove. There is a sea like this. They don't have another solution to have fire. So they cut the mangrove in order to cook and to do the activities. This is the real problem. So if we told them to stop cutting, what alternative energy we can give them in order to keep the mangrove? This is very, very good. This is our reflection. So, I mean, during the session, we can talk about it. We have a next step online about the mangrove. I just want to stop now, and after I will talk about
Thank you. Yes, we can start now. We have like the two round tables, one related to Africa and one related to the rest of the world, also to compare different case studies and experiences. So we start with the panel on Africa with Kenneth and Amoateng. that's coming from Ghana. I want to Kenneth, you introduce yourself and also tell us about the context of Ghana and also the work that Domenico is doing in your country. Thank you very much, Kenneth, for being with us.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for this opportunity for giving life to nature on mangroves. Mangroves is very important in Ghana. And a lot of people live with their livelihood in mangroves. And the UN have declared that Ghana, it's one of the countries that have a lot of mangroves because we have a lot of lagoons, we have a lot of seas around the coast. But one of the interesting things that I want to talk this morning is how the local community use mangroves and to how to empower them so that they can also plant more mangroves. That is very key and important. We know how important mangroves are. And so that is the basis of my presentation this morning. People need to live, need to cook. And so what we do is that we provide a cook stove for people that live around the mangroves. And so then what we do is that the cook stove reduces smoke, and you will not use a lot of firewood, a lot of mangroves, because the local community believes that mangroves, when you use it to cook, the durability, you can spend a small mangroves to cook a lot of food. And so basically they prefer using mangroves. And those that use mangroves for firewood and for charcoal also believe that mangroves, when you burn, it also has a lot of, you get a lot of firewood. So the importance of mangroves and using mangroves to cook and also for charcoal has become one of the burden of Ghana. And as a civil society organization, what we are doing is that, like I said, provide them with a cook stove, which reduce smoke for about 20%. And they use, when you use that stove, you use firewood about 4 or 5 to cook a large food. The next thing that we do is that we also empower them, giving them the facility to go and plant. So when they cut the mangroves, which is not our recommendation, but if they do it, what we do is that we give them the mangroves also to plant. And so, like what we call the mango harvest or mango planting. And basically that is what we do as a local organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kenneth, for bringing your experience. And now let's go to another country, that is Senegal. And we will invite one of the first speakers that are online. That is Momar. So,
yeah.
Momar, are you
okay,
there?
hello. Hello. Hello, do you hear me?
Hi, Momar, can you hear us?
Okay, I'm around. Do you hear me?
Okay, I kindly ask the technical to give us the sound from the computer, please.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
And we have to write the sound of the computer, please.
Hello, hello. Hello.
Yes, hello, we can hear you.
Ah, okay. Can I go ahead? Can I go ahead? Okay. Okay, thank you, everybody. I guess people are hearing me well. I'm a little bit sorry. I don't know if you have my presentation displayed or not. Hello.
We can hear you, Momar. You can go ahead. We can hear
Okay,
you.
okay. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Okay, so the topic I want to discuss in the 5 minutes is just to raise some data which show or display the importance of mangrove. I have already sent my presentation to the organizers. Just to say a few words about the importance of mangrove in the all around the world. As you may know, mangrove is representing 1% of the tropical forest in the world, and it has a potential of carbon sequestration 3 or 5 times more than the forest or the bush. Every year you can have 13 gigatons of CO2, around 14% of the oceanic sequestration. These show you the importance of mangrove. So referring to Senegal, we are running a study on national strategy on mangrove conservation. We are going to validate it this week, next Wednesday. And also one of the responses we raised is to create some MPAs. Myself, I'm in the direction of MPAs, marine protected areas. It's a pity I can display the map. You can see all along the coast there is 15 MPAs created since 2004, and inside you have 10 MPA. So around 80% of the MPA are on the mangrove zone. This is just to protect this mangrove. I'm coordinating actually a project with mangrove and MPA, and there we have some actions related to mangrove replantation. Every year we are doing some replantation around 200 to 300 hectares of rhizophora, and sometimes also some other forest plants we reforest in the landing area. There is also some actions on sensitization or putting some equipment that can save or protect or offering people other alternative and not to cut the trees or the mangrove. And we have the ameliorated ovens, and we have set around 2,000 ovens and with the communities. And also we develop some alternative activities that can generate income to the to the communities. We have on apiculture and also to develop salt without using cutting trees for the ovens. And we have also some vegetable with the garden. We have also already also set in the delta of Salum and in Casamance. It's a pity that we haven't displayed the presentation, but these are some datas and some current activities I wanted to share with people. I was prevented that we have just 5 minutes for presentation. That's why I make it very short. Thank you. I guess that you are listening me very well. Thank you.
Momar. I want to see that we saw your presentation, but we were talking,
We don't hear you well, Mr. Who is the?
So I was saying that.
Okay, yeah, that's fine now.
We have seen your presentation, so what was displaying during your talk. Thank you very much for your intervention and your contribution. Actually, congratulations for the work that you are doing.
Yeah.
So let's go now to another case study of coastal protection, always from Africa, and we will go to Pauline Owiti. I don't know, Pauline, if you are online, can please proceed with your intervention. Thank you, Pauline.
Thank you very much, Domenico. We have a group member who is trying to join in. He is the one who will be presenting about our work at the Foley Foundation with the mangroves. So maybe you proceed to the next speaker as he tries to solve his technical issues. It's called David Dimo.
Okay, so let's go to the next speaker. That here we have like a case study outside Africa, actually, and we are talking about USA and San Diego State University. And so I give the floor to Dr.Gabriela Fernendez and Carol Maione to introduce themselves and to present the case study.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you see? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Today we're going to discuss monitoring beach ecosystem in the Americas. I'm Carol Maione, and I'm a visiting scholar at the Department of Geography at San Diego State University and a researcher at Metabolism of Cities Living Lab under the Center for Human Dynamics in the Mobile Age at San Diego State, and also PhD candidate in industrial engineering at Polytechnic University of Milan in Milan, Italy. And I'll let my colleague, Dr. Fernendez, to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Gabriela Fernendez. I'm a professor at San Diego State University in San Diego, California. Also director of the Metabolism of Cities, a living lab, which is under the Center for Human Dynamics in the Mobile Age. And we'll be discussing a closer look into the Americas. So take it away, Maione.
Perfect. This is a snapshot of our lab, which is like based like in San Diego, California, but of course we have like partners all over like the world, including like Tijuana, Mexico, other places in the US, Central America, and in particular Nicaragua, which is one of the case studies we'll discuss today, and then like Milan, Belgium, France, Africa, and so on. And here's a video of our research. Let me know if you can hear. Do you confirm you can hear?
Sound? Share the sound.
Maybe Carol, you can share the sound also.
Let me see.
So go on the top where there's the 3 dots.
Okay.
And then say share sound.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, we can hear.
The Metabolism of Cities Living Lab is a multi-actor network partnership of researchers, knowledge creators, and thought leaders connected together to mobilize expertise on the SDGs in Southern California and Baja California, Mexico regions' overall performance.
For vulnerable communities in Southern California, social, environmental, and economic injustices can be especially devastating during times of difficulty, creating a divide between where we are and where we want to be. Diversity and inclusion isn't just about equality, it's about leaving no one behind and connecting us to each other during times of need. To our environment, to our communities, and to our neighbors, connecting us to everything and everyone we love, we now have the opportunity to think differently about how we connect and plan our cities, a chance to truly innovate across our metropolitan regions and international borders, a chance for cities to localize the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal targets for the development of the world to 2030. A catalyst for change is the Metabolism of Cities Living Lab, hosted by the Center for Human Dynamics in the Mobile Age at San Diego State University. The Living Lab will accommodate, enable, drive the diversity of individual communities by viewing the city as a living organism. We can imagine innovative ways to think of a city. We can track, monitor, and forecast material, energy, information, and people flows to localize the global goals, driving progress, ambition, and vision to improve social, economic, and environmental outcomes in the local region. The international border is the playground of the Living Lab. Our Big Ideas vision leverages the integration of smart urban systems, citizen science, big data analysis, and model forecasting, with an overarching goal of providing data-driven tracking and monitoring of sustainability. As part of our toolkit, the SDSU Sustainable Development Goals Tracking Dashboard can monitor, explore sustainability trends, indicators, and related targets. The dashboard can enable us to visualize, analyze, and download data and help foster a strong community in the Baja Californias. Governments, academics, and others can use the dashboard to perform easy analysis of sustainability, important to make the decisions that affect our underrepresented communities. Our research outputs can provide a resource to higher education institutes through teaching, research, partnerships, dialogue, and organizational practices. We apply science and we engineer the future, because it is exploring and solving that moves us forward. It lifts us. It's what makes the world better. It's what makes us SDSU. We believe that there's nothing in this world that can't be made better, more efficient, cleaner, smarter, more life-affirming, life-saving, and life-improving. So we discover, teach, ponder, and manage from the edges to its center. Our region can be more connected through thoughtful planning and careful execution. We reimagine SDSU as a leader in sustainable development in Southern California and the Baja California, Mexico region. To support the Metabolism of Cities Living Lab, please check out our website.
Okay. So the topic of today's presentation is about plastic pollution, and in particular, we're going to discuss different monitoring technologies that we've been analyzing at the border between US and Mexico and in Nicaragua. So why the focus on this area? As you may know, San Diego and the California area is part of the Eastern Garbage Patch, and is hit by plastic pollution in several ways. And given the ocean currents, plastic pollution is transitioning along the coast. And we were interested in understanding plastic pollution as a border issues. So trying to understand what are possible dynamics of the border that can affect this phenomenon. So just to give you an overview of the phenomenon, we have plastic waste generation, which is 42% collected and 58% managed on a global scale. And of this, only 5% is recycled. 4% is going to energy recovery, and the big majority of collected waste is still going to landfill. And of course, for the mismanaged part, we have phenomenon open burning, leak into the environment, and it can enter waterways and eventually end up in the ocean. In terms of sampling habitats that we're looking at, we look at 6 main habitats. The first one is beach, so the area along or near the beach, the rocky shores, the shallow waters. Then we have seas, so open seas, fishing sites, area interested by marine biota, such as marine protected areas and coral reef, urban areas such as coastal urban spaces, travel and restoration facility, inland waters such as rivers, estuaries, lakes, ponds, and stagnants or wastewaters, and finally vegetation such as mangrove forests, coastal green areas. It's important to understand the sampling habitats before starting the sampling and the monitoring for plastic pollution, because each of these habitats is interested by different ecosystems, and also the different like sampling method can differ based on the sampling habitats. In general, like plastic pollution can come from land-based sources or sea-based sources. In the case of land-based, we can have the main polluting sectors such as household in terms of like plastic shopping bags, beverage bottles, food wrapping, containers, tableware, cleaning supplies, sports and clothing equipment. We can have like pollution from retail, such as like containers, food wrapping, plastic shopping bags. We can have plastic from building and construction, especially like along building sites, from the plastic industry as a whole. And this can end in the ocean through rivers or like coastal waters. And then we can have like plastic from sea-based sources, such as like tourism, such as like beverage bottle, food wrapping, food packaging, from shipping, and finally from fisheries, such as like fishing equipment, and including abandoned or lost gears. And this can enter like the sea through rivers, coastal marine, and through boat tours. So just to give you an overview of what we just discussed, these are like the main polluting sectors. And the way this plastic reach the ocean is through accidental loss, illegal disposal, spill, littering, and also through like solid waste disposal and wastewater treatment. When we talk about like sea-based macroplastic, they can also like fragment into smaller pieces, such called like microplastics. And they're much more dangerous because like of their small size, they can be ingested by a wider like a range of organisms. But we can also have like land-based microplastics, such as those used in cosmetics and clothing, which can reach the ocean through our laundry washing system, or like tire submersion and so on. So for our work, we focus on meso-level monitoring, surveying microplastics on tourism beaches. So some of the issues that we wanted to address during in this research were like the paucity of data on sources and amounts of marine plastic pollution, and the uncertainty about sources and pathways of marine pollution. Some of the survey questions that we posed were: what are the areas where litter is most prevalent? How much litter occurs in the selected like study size? What is the composition and the principal types of materials? What are the principal litter items? How does the amount like vary across different sites? And what are possible variables that can affect the input of litter in the sea? In terms of like the objectives of research, we wanted to capture the spatiotemporal variability of beach and coastal plastic pollution over time, and also provide a more accessible litter assessment using like basic tools such as logbook, pencils, like measuring tape, and so on. For our activities and materials, we prepared the site, like marking the site boundaries and setting up transects, and using flat markers, measuring tape, and digital camera to capture photos. And then we ran a litter composition analysis, like recording the GPS coordinate and like basic characteristics of like the litter item. Then like specifically for plastic, we analyzed the polymer composition to understand like what are possible like sources and pathway of plastic pollution. And finally, we weighted plastics. Here, as mentioned before, we have some of the survey questions that were like looked at. For survey instruction, we first like assess like site condition with the survey supervisor, choose a starting point to begin the survey, usually perpendicular to the beach area, and mark the area and divide it into transect. And here, my colleague, Dr. Fernendez, is going to explain how we did the analysis in 2 case studies. Please take it away.
Thank you for the presentation. So now that my colleague has discussed where the pathway and sources of plastic pollution occur, we now want to focus on a real case study that we have worked on in the past. We developed a hackathon. It's called Climathon, similar to a hackathon where we focused on the city of El Astillero, which is in Nicaragua. The city of El Astillero is a coastal fisherman city where urban and rural areas are, you can see a lot of contamination by waste. Where you see in the city, vegetation, beaches, roads, and rivers are polluted due to the lack of sustainable garbage collection systems and appropriate community awareness. In this particular activity, we partner with several different nonprofit organizations, specifically also Casa Congo, which is located in El Astillero. And we develop 5 different challenges in order to come up with innovative solutions for the city of El Astillero. We focused on data and monitoring, education in children, arts and humanities, technology, industry, tourism, and management. And this was called From Trash to Treasure, turning waste into useful raw materials and partnering with Climate Kick. In this particular activity, as mentioned, we partner with Casa Congo, this nonprofit organization in the city of El Astillero. We develop a methodology for volunteers in the local community to undertake in order to monitor and track all the different materials that were found at the beach during this particular event. And this was a collaboration also with Unleash, Race for Oceans, and Climate Kick. Here you can see some of the different, let's say, events that occurred during the beach cleanup. Children ages 10 to 18, as well as adults, which were supervising the children, participated during the beach cleanup. And we also had a surfing activity and educational lectures to educate children about the different, let's say, waste that they would be finding in that particular day. They categorize the material, the waste into different types of categories. And this is a way to create awareness about waste within their local community. We also wanted to undertake the similar methodology that was taken in El Astillero in Nicaragua, Central America. And we wanted to also conduct this beach cleanup in Imperial Beach, which is located along the US-Mexico border with Tijuana. And we did this event back in April, and we wanted to use a similar, let's say, methodology where we try to understand where the different sources and of microplastics and also plastics that are coming in and out of the border. Currently in Imperial Beach, we have sewage leakages and run-ons that travel across the US and Mexico border. It is one of the busiest ports of entries around the world, and it was very important for us to explore this case study. What we see here are the different locations across the US-Mexico border that have a high impact on the waste, let's say, contamination that is shared with Mexico. We see here the Tijuana River National Estuary Research Reserve, the Goat Canyon, the Tijuana River Valley Regional Park, Smuggler's Gulch Canyon, Chula Vista Model Aircraft Airport. And what we see here, it's not so clear where the border is, but let's say the water that goes, yes, as my colleague shows there, the water that comes from Mexico and goes into the US and vice versa are shared. And these are areas that need further exploration. Next. And here is just a snapshot of one of the areas that was mentioned in the previous slide. We see that especially after it rains, we can see that a large amount of waste is, let's say, located along the border. And this is quite alarming, especially as it has an impact not only on human health, but also on biodiversity and vegetation and soil contamination. So this is definitely quite alarming, and definitely policymakers along the US-Mexico border need to take a closer look. During the beach cleanup, we decided to not only focus on collecting waste, but also look at microplastics that could be found within the beach of Imperial Beach. And here you can see a snapshot of one of our volunteers who's a student at San Diego State University in the Department of Geography, look at microplastics along the coast. Here you can see just an example of what that looks like. Yeah. During the beach cleanup, we also provided a document where we had the different categories of material. So when volunteers, let's say, found specific waste, they were able to record in a document what exactly they found, in which location, and also we asked their perceptions during this event. And you see the majority of the waste that was found is mostly plastic, as is expected, as we saw in our previous photo, what we found across the US-Mexico border. Here you can see a couple of snapshots. Not only did we collect the material during the event, but we also sorted the material. We wanted to better understand what was found in this beach, and also try to hypothesize which sectors had a major contribution of this waste being in this particular area. And here you can see us sorting the material. And you can see that the majority of the materials was indeed plastic, which was bottles, plastic wrapping, bottle caps, beach toys, plastic containers, straws, plastic cups. But then, of course, there was also other materials like paper wrapping sheets, receipts, mix, wood, tar, which was a very popular one, clothing, face mask, organic waste, quite a bit of glass bottles, and of course, metal cans, bottle caps, and wires. The majority of our volunteers were age range between ages 10 all the way to 65. And here is just a snapshot showing that the majority of our waste was indeed plastic. Here are a couple snapshots of our activity at Imperial Beach. Additionally, we wanted to connect with the community. We asked some of our volunteers, which were San Diego State University students, as well as UCSD Prus School, high school students and community members, if they were aware of the Sustainable Development Goals, if they had heard about them. And after we gave them a short, let's say, description about what exactly the UN SDGs were, we asked them which goals were most important to them and why. So here are just a couple snapshots of some of the, let's say, the volunteers that wanted to contribute to the SDGs in their own way. Okay. And thank you very much for listening. Let us know if you have any questions. And thank you again.
Thank you, Dr. Fernendez and Dr. Maione, for your presentation. So now let's go to the last case study. So I can call to Pauline Owiti to briefly resume the experience of coastal protection in Kenya. So Pauline, go to you.
Thank you very much, Domenico. I will just give a brief overview of what we are doing at the coast of Kenya. So basically, as at now, the state of the marine ecosystem within the coastal part of the country isn't that much good because of the fact that there's increasing population and then industrialization has taken over the area with the recent developments of the SGR. SGR is the standard gauge railway that have been connecting the port to the inland part of the country, have led to destruction of the marine ecosystem, especially the mangrove. And we have issues of the human settlement and just cutting down of mangrove for household use. On the same note, we understand the importance of mangrove to the ecosystem. So we proposed a project that we are working with the local people. So the project is a community-based ocean reforestation, and it's called Reforest Our Ocean. So it tries to bring the sustainable management of mangrove ecosystem by involving the community. So we ensure that if we involve this local community in every step, including starting with the plan as well as implementation, it sort of helps in instilling the ownership and also make them the stewards of conservation of this mangrove and management. And we realize that through doing this, the mangrove is not that much destroyed. The ecosystem is not that much destroyed. So last week, that's why I wanted Dimo to do this presentation, because he was there. We planted, like, together with other organizations, we planted like 2,000 mangroves. And also within the beginning of the year, we planted around 10,000 mangroves. And this is an ongoing process. And we are working basically with the community and other stakeholders, and we are looking at also ensuring that we work with the government, because the government is having a similar project, and it will be good if we work with them to help us in, like, bringing in the research perspective and monitoring as well as evaluation, because those are the current skills and expertise that we lack within the project. And if we bring in expertise from the government, it will help us continue very well with this project. So far, the community has been taking it very well, and it has benefited them in terms of economic development, because they have started, like, having to have their own mangrove seedlings that they take care of and also sell to other people that are looking forward to doing the same project. So they've had that economic benefit within the project as they try also to protect the surrounding ecosystem. So recently,
I ask you to conclude, because we are running out of time, and I think that we can conclude the session eventually. Please leave your contact into the chat. So just to conclude, thank you very much to all for the attention. This has been a way to show different experience of coastal protection and mangrove protection. So there is unfortunately no time for questions, but we'll be around here and during the COP for any question or things and comments regarding the session. Thank you very much to all for participating, and thank you to all the speakers and guests for being there. Just a last word to Charles. Just you to close.
Okay. Thank you for your question. I mean,
Okay, good morning. Thank you very much. My name is Momar, and I think this is a nice project. Early this year, Ghana government has implemented a project of planting 20 million trees, which include mango trees, part of it, the seeding. And there's a policy in Ghana of cutting of mango trees. The mango trees are the most important, they last more